You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning, CSL St. George. It's lovely to see you here today and present. I'm going to start a meditation. It's from a blog of Reverend Rita Andriello, living on Easy Street. Ernest Holmes wrote, "We see the abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth contains untold riches, and the very air is vibrant with power. Why then is man weak, poor, and afraid?" The science of mind deals with these questions. He then answers his own question with, "The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this." So I invite you to take those thoughts. Just take a deep breath and release. And I want to see if you can connect to something other than what you were thinking even 5 minutes ago. Just take a breath and let it go. And how I let go of the past in any capacity is I give it back. I give it back to God. I can do that in two ways. I can focus on the truth that I and my Father are one, only it is greater. Or I can just surrender everything, every past thought, in any instant of any day, and it is whisked away. This does not mean that it doesn't come back. It comes back as you mentally accept it. And then it is shown again. And just releasing it has more power for the brain to set up an instance where it shows up less and less. As we continue to give up the past, as we continue to give up what we thought was real, there's a few things that help me give away what I feel or see as current. And it's usually an attachment of a belief I may have that I am in truth giving up. So I can use gratitude and give it away. Anything that shows up, thank you. I'm just going to give that back to God. See what happens. Trust the process. I breathe in and I just surrender it. I release the past easily now this way. As I meet every moment with a thought that may be from the past, I trust that there's more going on than meets the eye. I do my part, and I know that the universe is doing its part when I surrender. I am always surrendering my way. My way is a winding highway, and I choose in every moment to go direct to source, the source of my being, the source of truth. In doing this, I also have respect for all others. I even give back the good to God. I give away happy moments and I give away sad moments, knowing that only in the present moment am I truly real and truly free. And from this, I get a sense of clarity. Where does that clarity come from? It is the divine within. As we clear the path, its presence becomes known in greater and greater and fantastic ways. Ways I had no idea that I had an opportunity to choose from. They show up. And I let go. How they show up. I let that inner being, that inner guidance, show me all possibilities. I have respect for myself. I know that through practicing the science of mind and spirit, I have a greater depth to the unknowable. As I allow it to be the truth of who and what I am. I let go of all the ancient thoughts, all the people thoughts, all those deciding for me in some capacity in my life. I give them all away. I come back to the center of who and what I am. I am that I am. I am the calm, and I allow the storm around me to twirl and twirl and twirl, staying focused on the calm inner being. I allow things to come and go. All of the judgments, all of the wars, I allow them to swirl around me as I stay focused on the center, on the first cause, and I give myself the peace that passes all understanding. It is present. It is here. It is now. All suffering is caused by my resistance. Evolution overcomes the past. Including the dreaming of the future. Allowing that God is, God is, God is my ever-present, powerful flow of life in this very moment. And my life is easy and grateful. And so knowing this, I just have another breath, another moment of grace flows in through my body. And I let it go with gratitude, coming back to the present moment, which is the God Self itself. And so it is.
You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to CSL St. George. We're so happy you're joining us this morning, or if you're joining us later on watching it, the broadcast, just welcome. We're in St. George, and it's a beautiful sunny day like it always is. It's a little toasty warm, but that's okay. So we are an open, loving, inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. So let me tell you who we have here, the team. My name is Gwen Hadley. I'm a member of our beautiful core council. Very happy to be. So behind pulling the levers and making everything work for the first time is our practitioner, Bill Smith. So we're very glad he's behind us. Star, that was a beautiful meditation. She's also going to be doing our invocation. Shay Barlow will do our beautiful music as always. And then Sue, I think, has written something special for our reading. And very, very grateful and happy to have Reverend Savanna Noelle with us today. I think she's got a very important message for us. So I'm glad you're all here. With that, I'd like to introduce and bring up Shay Barlow with some music.
Good morning, Gwen. So I'm going to run through this, and we'll just have that title slide on the screen. And then after I go through it, Star is going to do our invocation for us. And then the lyric will be on screen, and you can sing along. So we are going to center ourselves and just remind ourselves who we are and who we are collectively, right? May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy.
Okay, everyone, just take another deep breath. Right here, right now, I know there's only one mind. That mind is perfect. That mind is beautiful. That mind is my mind now. Because I know this for myself, I know this for each and every one of you. There is no separation. It's a figment of our imagination if we choose to use it. Even in that, there is no separation from those who feel separate. Right here, right now, there is only peace. And that peace stems from who and what I am in truth. I am joy. And from that joy comes happiness. And the message for today, the Great Reset, has already happened in the one mind of God. And so I offer relaxation into that mind, allowance, see the storm for what it is. It is the illusion. And the peace is already right there with everything that goes on. And so our connection to that peace and the guidance that we feel in today's message, I send out to touch every person's soul and heart. And this one mind acting in and through each and every one of us, knowing exactly what is next to do. And so I release this prayer, this service, and this love into law, knowing it is already complete. As together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you so much. Please affirm these words with me. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy. And now we're going to welcome Sue Fulmer to provide a sacred reading. Thank you, Sue.
It's good to be here. Thank you, Cheryl. That was beautiful. So what is one body? We are one body. As Ernest Holmes says, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. These oft-repeated words from Ernest simplifies the philosophy of oneness. In contemplation, I recalled the biblical words, "In the beginning was God." This has to be enough, I concluded, because thinking of anything other than that or before that is just mind-boggling. So I deducted that if all there was God, then everything else had to come from God. Years previous, when hearing the creation story from Genesis, I believed God had the power to create. I more recently came upon the question in my mind, what did God create with? The Science of Mind Beliefs, authored by Ernest Holmes, states the manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. I conclude from this that there must be a God substance, that God energy or spirit must be able to create out of itself. We know through science that everything is energy and always moving. It cannot be destroyed or changed. To believe that all is one, we must accept the premise that God is the creator of all, that all is created from the God substance. The God energy has to be in every cell or substance of all creation. As every drop of ocean is the same substance as the whole ocean, all of creation is the same as the substance of God, all one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. So we, this year, we have, am I there? There I am. We are exploring Living Everyday Wonder. And June's focus has been on the body, as Sue mentioned in our Blue Belief statements. The manifest universe is the body of God, which is us, right? And us in the United States right now are not feeling particularly unified, I don't think. And Savanna's going to talk today about how we need a reset button. I have tentatively been on social media a little bit and reading things. And one of the quotes that really jumped out at me that I saw posted from the CSL Diversity and Inclusion team was from Brene Brown. And she writes, in order to emphasize with someone else's experience, you must be willing to believe them as they see it, and not how you imagine their experience to be. There was also a quote by U.S. Representative and civil rights activist John Lewis, and he said, do not get lost in a sea of despair. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. We will find a way, make a way out of no way. And certainly with women's reproductive rights being challenged, we, as spiritual beings, we know that everything is part of the unfolding, right? But as human beings, sometimes we also just get to ask, what is going on? And this is a song by Linda Perry that the Four Non Blondes recorded called What's Up. 25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. Realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means. And so I try sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out, what's in my head, and I am feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I try, oh my God, do I try? I try all the time in this institution, and I pray, oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day for a revolution. And so I try sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out, what's in my head, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, Okay, Gwen.
Cheryl,
Thank you.
thank you. What a perfect song. What a perfect song for today. So, and with that, I would love to introduce, and I am so happy that Reverend Savanna is here to talk about a difficult subject. And I don't know who could do a better job, who is more sensitive than she is. So, Savanna, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let us just bring our energy to this moment to just center. That song was so perfect. I felt like my talk title could have been, Hey, what's going on? So thank you, Che. And thank you so much for those quotes. I think they were timely. They are timely and relevant to all that's happening. So it's good to be back with you. Good morning. I was telling the team earlier that I had a completely different talk written for this week and prepared, but as you know, life happens with the decision around reproductive rights. Of course, we must talk about it. So speaking spiritual truths to current events and its relevancy to our lives is something that I find to be where my work is the most. It's how I feel I can best serve others. So it isn't to speak to platitudes and to give you a lot of spiritual bypassing rhetoric, but I'll be honest with you, like many in our organization and in the world, we're still kind of processing what's going on and how it feels in my body. And so I like to engage our teaching in a way that allows juxtaposition, that allows contrast, and the human condition to be as it is. Because asking someone who only knows hunger to get to a place in their minds of fullness to be somewhere else, I find is problematic, and what someone with a lot of privilege can easily say. And I think this is the biggest challenge that I've had with our teaching over the years, is that I can ask a student who is in utter despair, who might even be suicidal, to get to willingness before I can ask them to get to hope. You know, it's easy, spiritual folks, to sometimes bypass the condition that we are experiencing. And I think we strip away people's dignity and the right to their experience to that human condition. It doesn't change that consciousness is still cause. It doesn't change that our thoughts create thought forms and therefore create energy and intentionality, and then that becomes form. I say this because we find ourselves in this situation so many times where it's easy to fall back on platitudes and the bypassing of real pain. It's easy, I think, also to use oneness as a scapegoat and our privilege to float above the pains of other people. And the beautiful thing is we can hold both. These things aren't mutually exclusive. And so it is moments like these where I admittedly do not have all the answers. And so I lean into my own inner knowing. I lean into my own spiritual practice. I lean into the wisdom of my colleagues and of our collective knowing and of this teaching. And so in today's talk, I want to not only impart some of my own wisdom and some of my own learnings, but also those of my colleagues who I respect and I trust greatly. And I felt like in the last few months that we just need a reset. You know, sometimes we just need to hit that reset button. And what I love about our teaching is that we can always start again. You know, Ernest Holmes talks about how the past is not bound by precedent and that we can always change this moment. And so I want to start at the beginning. I think it's important when we have conversations like this that we pull ourselves back to the beginning. And what I want you to know, and I want you to take this in, is that you are a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being made in the likeness of the divine creator, and every cell in your body was perfectly made. You were birthed into this life as a whole, perfectly complete human. You are not broken or damaged. You are not separate from this one source that I call God. You might call it love, intelligence, or the universe. And Ernest Holmes reminds us of it this way. The spirit within each one of us is God, and it is perfect. It is love. It is reason. It is truth. It is beauty. It is limitless and perfect and complete and whole. It knows no lack and no limitation. And there is nothing that we have done, said, or thought which rises up against us, which has the power over us, or which limits us. There is no memory of fear, no condemnation for previous mistakes. With the desire to free ourselves from the further indulgence in the mistake, the effect of the previous mistake is wiped out, just as the light dissipates the darkness. The universe holds nothing against us. It can hold nothing against us because it can know nothing unlike itself. Therefore, it only knows us as perfection. Because sometimes we get away from that when we other people or we vilify others that are different than us or who believe differently than us. And so with that as the beginning, I wanted to just bring some reminders to us today, because these are things that over the last few days I've had to really dig deep and I've had to really remind myself. And the first one is, we are not powerless. You are not powerless. As Reverend Elisha, as many of you know, Reverend Elisha Christopher says, we have consciousness, we have prayer, we have bodies to move into action. We have the capacity to choose how we respond. So it's not about the thing, it's about our relationship to the thing. Reverend David Alexander, who's part of the Center for Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, I was watching his talk this morning and I was so deeply inspired by it. And so I want to share a few things that he said because they resonated deeply with me. And he said, he's talking about the condition, that we look at the conditions of the world. And in our teaching, we often say to turn away from the condition, to not even address it, to not even look at it. And there's this idea of denial, right? Because we're afraid that we're going to give too much power to the condition. But he says we can name the condition and take our power back about the condition. We're not giving it power by naming it. We have the power already. So we can work with that once we have named it. And we know that we cannot heal what we don't acknowledge. So when we name it, the othering, the racism, the sexism, the transphobia, the whiteness, when we name the bigotry, the misogyny, the Islamophobia, we give it a name. It doesn't mean that we're not, that we're denying the experience either. We give it a name, and it's not just thinking about good thoughts. And sometimes I think the tendency in our teaching, in our organization, is people want to stay in the oneness. It's easier to float in the oneness. And we think that if we stay in the oneness oriented long enough that it's going to go away, but we have to name it, claim the power. The condition has a name, and that condition, David Alexander says, has no power over our minds to choose something higher. And what that means for us, though, is that we have some work to do, because we don't live on islands, he says, unto ourselves. We can't just go into individualism. It's very easy to want to do that. We can't be blinded by the pain of this moment. And so I'm reminding us that we are not powerless. And the second thing I want to remind you is that it's important that we feel everything, that we feel our feelings, and then we act. There's a lot of work to be done. And I was listening to Reverend Lola Wright this week, who is another colleague that I admire and respect greatly. And she said, we run the risk of exhausting ourselves when we adrenalize through the experience. Reactivity will only work for so long because it's not sustainable. And so the question that we have to ask ourselves more deeply is, who am I? Who am I to be such that humanity can evolve beyond these basic arguments that we're having? Because if you are exhausted in the process, then you're not going to be any contribution to the whole. We can't save the world in one day. And so we don't want to wear ourselves out now. She says, get mad and then get organized. So the question that I've been really sitting with is, if everything is love, if love is the greatest power there is, and if that infinite intelligence is all there is, what does love want me to know? What does my rage want me to know? It's important to feel it all. May the rage that I see and feel allow and inspire my light to support the healing of myself and another. I'll say that again. It's the affirmation I've had for myself this the last few days. May the rage I see and feel allow and inspire my light to support the healing of myself and another. You could use any emotion there. May the anger I see and feel, may the sadness I see and feel allow and inspire my light to support the healing of myself and another. You see, it is not unloving to be sad. It is not unloving to be afraid. It's not unloving to feel hurt. It's not unloving to feel ashamed. It's not unloving to feel angry or unloving to feel jealous. It's not unloving to feel resentful. What's unloving is if and when we use our emotions as ammunition to harm ourselves or others. And so the first insight of what love wants us to know is that it is never unloving to feel exactly the way you do. Many of us, I know, were taught to not feel anything. Or, again, to come back to these platitudes of it's all God, so it's all good, or time will heal, or all of those, very insensitive ways of going about the pains and the actual struggles of people in the world. The question that we get to come back to as well is, can we trust the absurdity of this moment that something great is happening here? That is what Reverend Lola Wright said this week. Can we trust the absurdity of this moment that something great is happening here? So the reminders that you are not powerless and how important it is to feel our feelings, and then we get to act. Action is so essential. We talk about this, treat and move your feet, right? The third thing I want you to remember is that oneness is the way, and oneness, as we remember and know, is not sameness, but our feelings are also part of that one body. Reverend David Alexander mentioned this morning that he said, we don't want our privileged view to cause us to float above the pains of others, because the oneness expressing as them needs the one as you to hear the cry and to not minimize it. And so you get to have your feelings. You get to feel the spectrum of it all. Even though our first task is to stay in the oneness, it doesn't mean that we're not allowed to get upset. It doesn't mean that we can't be angry and to be all the things. We are allowed. We are allowed. We have permission, because feelings are part of the oneness. It's part of the one body we are in. Feelings come and go, right? So oneness is not sameness. Oneness is the way, but feeling it all is so essential. The next thing I want you to remember is that we can do the work. This is, I think, some of the hardest parts of this. We can do the work. What is that saying by Reverend Michael Beckwith? He says, the pain pushes until the vision pulls. And I always am reminded by that when I'm being stretched, when I'm called to be something more. The pain pushes as the vision pulls. We have this vision of a world that works for all people, right? And there's pain that is pushing right now. And we don't just pretend it doesn't exist, but we can also choose to act. Reverend David Alt, another amazing colleague of mine, he says our freedom lies in proportion to our inclusion of ourselves. We must start within. We must uphold our own rights first. The right to worth, the right of belonging, the right to turn the other cheek back to love, because the real law, universal law, will unfailingly reflect all of that back to us. So let this be a reminder today that your feelings are valid, that you can feel everything. Who am I to become such that humanity can evolve beyond this very basic argument that everyone in the social media sphere and on the news is saying, right? Where can we put our attention? I want you to think for a moment of an area of your life that really could use a reset, a really good reset. It could even be, today, I'm going to reset where I've put my attention. I'm not going to engage in all the negativity of the world, because you get to choose to let go of the past, to reset, and to start new. It's like the computer, right? It's like our computers or our phone. When something goes amok, when things they stop working, what do? We restart them. We restart things when things are out of alignment, when upgrades have to happen. We get to have a clean slate. Ernest Holmes, puts it this way. He says, I cleanse the windows of my mind that it may become a mirror reflecting the inspiration from the Most High. I do this not with strenuous effort, but through quiet contemplation, through gently reaching and affirming an inward recognition. I know exactly what to do in every situation. There is an inspiration within me which governs every act, every thought, with certainty, with conviction, and in peace. One of the things that I want to leave you with is something that I think is essential. And, I wish it was taught, in schools. I think it's starting to become more prevalent, which is mindfulness practices, but it's of calming our nervous system. So many of us are walking around in the world reacting to trauma responses, and learning in this moment that we hold that stuff in the body. So it's important, again, to feel everything, but to learn ways of how do I calm this body? How do I calm my nervous system? And so what I want to do with you in this moment, if you can, if you are in a place to do it, I want to show you a somatic practice that you can do. It's called the butterfly hug. And you can do this when you're triggered. You can do this when you're upset and emotional. It actually helps the emotion rise. And so what I want you to do is that I want you to cross your arms over your body, and I just want you to start tapping bilaterally. Because what happens is bilateral stimulation like this, it activates and it integrates information from these two brain hemispheres. So it basically helps the brain process distressing memories and experiences and emotions. And so keep doing this. So when you're triggered, you might hold this tapping from anywhere to 30 seconds to 3 minutes, and you just breathe. And you keep tapping. And I want you to just notice, do you spontaneously just sigh? Or do you yawn? Does your core actually settle? Does your breathing start to slow? Your tummy might giggle, or you might feel waves of warmth, or you might even want to cry. These are all signs of your nervous system releasing stored trauma. It's information when we pay attention. It's that survival energy. It's moving towards regulation where anxiety and depression can actually abate. So this is a tool that you can use, as we process what's going on, as you process what's happening in your own life. What I want us to remember, particularly those who identify on the spectrum as women, no one can take away your agency of your body. Female bodies matter. Gay and lesbian bodies matter. Black and brown bodies matter. Trans bodies matter. They all matter because they are part of that one body. They are part of the one body. So we are responsible for advocating for all of those bodies. This is what we get to remember. This is what we get to come into acknowledging for ourselves and others. And so how can we fuel this rage that we feel? I know I've had it for days, and the waves of emotion come and go from tears to rage, from tears to rage. But how can we fuel that into action? And how can we hold ourselves and others gently? I want you to think about that. How can we hold ourselves in grace? How can we hold others in gently and in grace? And where in your life do you want to reset? How do you reset? What signifies a reset for you? I think that this is a time where we must not shrink away from this moment. It is essential that we do not, because our light is needed in the world. So the affirmation that I leave you with today is that I trust the absurdity of this moment very deeply. Something greater is happening here. I pray for guidance and right action, and I move my feet. So let us go into a prayer now. So we just take that holy breath in. Giving thanks for all the feels, giving thanks for the power of this moment, for this moment that we have to not shrink back, but to stand in the fullness of our power, of our divine birthright, which I know is grounded in love, in harmony, in divine right action, in healing, in expressiveness, in joy. And that power and that presence is living and breathing and moving through each and every one of us. It is guiding and informing our next steps, our next way, our next path. And so I surround all of us right here and now with this love intelligence that lives in each and every one of us. And I know that regardless of what is happening in the world, the conditions, that everything that we're experiencing right now is part of this divine unfolding. And that every feeling that we experience and feel is absolutely valid. And so I bless this community this day. I bless all those that are tuned in, that are watching right here and now. And I know that oneness, yes, is the way. We come back into that space of oneness. And we also acknowledge and embrace all those in struggle, in pain, in suffering, in any way. We bring them into our hearts right here and now. And I just give thanks for this prayer, give thanks for the word as me. And I know it is done. So together, let us just say, Ashe, Namaste. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us that it's okay to have feelings and that feelings are part of oneness. The quote, and I don't recall who you quoted, get mad and then get organized. I love that. I absolutely love that. So I think we're going to have a really interesting, deep conversation today on Zoom. So I'm so happy that you're joining us, and I encourage everyone, please, please, please at noon, join us for this important conversation. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Wow, what a week. What a week this has been. So start with some announcements. So Reverend Joe and his family, they joined us at our gathering last month. He will start speaking and giving his message regularly starting in July. So we look forward to seeing him so much. So we're so glad he's here. Joe, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, we're so glad you're here and coming. We have a special in-person gathering that's coming up July the 9th. I'm hoping that you are all as excited as we are for these gatherings. They're getting larger every single month. And so we're looking at even having more time together, maybe even a couple of times a month. So, but our in-person gathering for July is at Encircle. They will be giving us a tour, giving us some treats, of course, and just educating us on what that wonderful organization is all about. So we encourage you, again, July the 9th, 10 a.m. to 12. Spread the love. Oh, we need your support, and we're so grateful when you can support us in whatever way. But the bottom line is the money, the tithing is so important to keeping us going. There are several ways you can donate. CSL.org. You can give by snail mail. You can use the QR code below with your phone. Whatever way you choose, we thank you in advance. And join again the community conversation at noon. You can find the link on Facebook, on our webpage. I think it's going to be an important discussion. So please join us. So Star will be here. If you feel like you need affirmative prayer, type in the chat that you're interested, and we will put you in the back in a private room so that she can do some prayer work with you. And just as you are here for us, we are here for you. Our community support circle provides whatever support you might need, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a note, whatever we can do. We are here again for you. Prayer requests, you can see the link there, prayer at cslstgeorge.org. Request whatever you need. And our practitioners are more than happy and willing to pray for you or your family. So next week coming up, we've got our guest speaker, Jeffron Seeley, me, myself, and I. And then for the next few consecutive Sundays, we have our own Rev, Joe. So please join us for these important talks. So our closing affirmation, Bill is bringing it up. Are we all there? I think we are.
All right. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it. I embrace it. And I share it.
Just the way it is.
And just the way that it's becoming.
Thank you.
Life.
Thank you, Life.
That was a cool echo we got going on.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Join us soon.